Once again, it's Shakir Bell handling the return up near the 30-yard line. The Eastern Division semifinal. Mike Riley is the prime suspect in an assassination. Now he's on the run. Ryan Phillippe stars in the new series Shooter. Premieres Tuesday night at 10 Eastern on Bravo. Suddenly a ball game again here. Hamilton Tiger Cats with some offensive resistance now. And now need some defensive resistance against Mike Riley and the Eskimos, leading 18-9. Riley fires far side, first down, and a rollover catch by Darrell Walker.
A quick hitter, the pattern. Managed to spread out the defense. John White also releasing to that side. Created a little bit of space for Darrell Walker to go to work.
All-star season again for Darrell Walker. Last year's CFL Rookie of the Year. Rolled up 1,600 yards. Jordan Lynch comes in at quarterback. This is what he likes to do as he tucks it and takes it and then is taken down by middle linebacker Larry Dean.
Well, we saw Hamilton go with Jeremiah Masoli at the 5-yard line on their possession. Edmonton now looking for a little offensive change-up of their own.
Just past the midway point of the third quarter here. Playoff day, game day. Green and gold, black and gold in the Golden Horseshoe. Winner goes to Ottawa next week. Might have been offside here. Mike Riley now rolls out, and Riley trying to get to that first down marker. Brought down from behind by Adrian Tracy. Now, it looked like an Eskimo had jumped a little early, but let's see what the call is. We had a chance to chat with Adrian Tracy yesterday. What a delightful guy he is.
A guy with a huge appreciation of the opportunity he's been given here in Hamilton.
Moms is in the house today. Here's a guy who played for the New York Giants a couple of years ago, said he was on the couch and felt he was being overlooked and said, you know, that was it for football. It took a stern talking to from his mom.
That's right. Like so many of us, mom got him straightened around. Says he really couldn't be happier with the situation he's in here in Hamilton. The coaches he works with and the teammates he's got around him.
Edmonton, number 89. That penalty's declined. Third down.
So it'll be third down. And like so many, and you played with them, so many of the most fierce guys in the Canadian Football League. What a softy away from it.
Yeah, very well-spoken young man, very humble. Terrific season for Adrian Tracy.
And he wants your job. or maybe it was a panel job. I'm not sure who it was. He was kind of looking at Schultze yesterday when he said that. Great young man and a great season, Adrian Tracy. So this could be right in coffin corner territory for Grant Shaw. Brandon Banks now came up to the 25-yard line, saw something for a moment, now retreats back to his 15. End over ender, and Banks gathers there and will get out of bounds at the 25. Well, CJ Gable said he wanted the ball. Cat said they had to get him the ball, and they got him the ball, and he got them a score. And they're back in it here in the Hammer in the East semifinal. Sound in the CFL Tuesday, CFL 30 on the air.
Hey, you shouldn't be running. I'm behind you. You're not catching that, dog. You're too slow. And that's how we started up. That boy is so automatic.
I'm not playing you right now.
I am.
Chill.
CFL 30 into the final 30 minutes here. Maybe some more in Hamilton today. The Ticats keep clawing back. Anthony Woodson getting a carry now. And we'll see if the Hamilton Tiger Cats can build on some of the offensive momentum they had from their previous drive.
Well, CJ Gable and the ground game were such an important part of that. Woodson, former Winnipeg Blue Bomber and Toronto Argonaut, in as the backup at that spot.
Woodson stays in. Colaro sends out 6 receivers. Here's the rush, and coming back to the football, but short of a first down will be Spencer Watt in a very quick 2-and-out this time. Battle of field position here in this third quarter.
Well, and this will be a tough situation in terms of field position for the Tiger Cats. And you look at starting off fairly deep in their own end. They're going to punt this ball from inside their own 35-yard line. We've already seen a 23-yarder into the wind by Brett Maher. Tough wind to deal with in the kicking game.
And a guy who got hammered in the first half and was limping. So Brandon Zylstra is back near his 45-yard line. Eskimos loading it up here. And they set up the return. It's a good kick by Maher. And Zylstra steps out at the 45, but a good starting point for Mike Riley. And that guy, CFL's leading receiver this season, the age of Adarius Bowman, another all-star year. 1 catch in the ball game so far in the Eastern semifinal. Sensational year for that guy, Adarius Bowman. 1,761 yards, and among the team leaders, of course, the BC Lions, their dynamic duo, but nobody was better than Robin and Batman. At least Adarius always says that Darrell Walker is wrong because he's got a little more seniority. They had an absolutely off-the-charts season.
Well, those two guys accounted for about 60% of Mike Riley's passing yards this season. Held relatively quiet thus far, though. Walker, 3 catches for 40 yards. Bowman, 1 for 3.
Double tight ends here. 1st and 10 from the 45. Under 5 to play against the win for the Eskimos in the third. Riley has Bowman. Adarius Bowman cutting back now and is brought down after a huge gain. Another big play. And Bowman, who had a number of 30-plus yard receptions, 11 on the season, has 32 on this one.
Well, and you'll see he takes it out to the sideline and then breaks it north. It's just after he turns upfield, Mike Riley drops it in for a nice game.
Darius Bowman, who, when he broke into the league, an ACL and an MCL injury back in 2012, and absolutely turned his career around in so many ways, on and off the field. Became a Grey Cup champion a year ago, of course, and really has found some symmetry, some synergy with Mike Riley.
Yeah, 2 guys that have absolutely clicked.
Well, here's some problems now for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. That's Mike Daly, one of their free safeties, who's filling in for Courtney Stephen, who's out of the ball game, was knocked out of the game early. And this will really challenge Orlando Steinauer and his defense.
Well, we'll see what they do to maintain status ratio-wise. I think Jay Langa will just come in at free safety. Another Canadian backup. Hasn't played a lot at this spot, but a former President's Trophy winner in 2014 at St. Mary's University. Is a top defensive player in Canadian University ball. And you'll see
Simone Lawrence, the former Eskimo, tears down Bowman. Daly, who played his university football here, of course, in McMaster, won the Vanier Cup back in 2011. There's Courtney Stephen. And a lot of conversation going on down there as the Eskimos continue to try to answer that touchdown from Hamilton.
You see Mike Daly just crossing the 40.
Oh, it looked like
a hard block from Darrell Walker there.
Looked like it might have been up high on both players. Daly slow to it. chirping going on the sideline.
And in a shocking twist, Odell Willis is involved.
To Sean Page. Wears just that trademark cornerback number, don't you think? You see a guy wearing 92, you don't think he's playing as well as a back.
Usually you see those in the preseason when they run out of eligible numbers, and you see a DB wear one of those. You're pretty confident that he's going home.
Yes. Sean Page is making that jersey his. So challenges now on that Hamilton sideline, and certainly in their secondary now. So two safeties out of the ball game. Page continues to have an ongoing discussion with that sideline.
And there you see Jay Langa pressed into action at free safety. Guy who's been primarily a special teamer through his first couple of CFL seasons.
Let's see if Mike Riley looks to exploit this. And a nice tackle up the middle by Larry Dean. Has been on a lot of plays today. Stuffs John White this time. One of the few times they've been able to curtail John White.
And there's Orlando Steinauer. He's had a season of dealing with injuries in that secondary. Look at the list of guys that have gone down over the course of the year. Johnny Adams most recently. You've got Johnny Sears down. Craig Butler and Damon Washington haven't played a snap all year.
Critical second down conversion. Riley in trouble now, and he goes down. Sacked by Larry Dean.
A great recovery by Larry Dean. Hustling back to the line of scrimmage.
What a game he's had, 49. Mike Riley goes down. He's all right, slow to get up. But the Edmonton Eskimos 8 for 13 on second down conversions in the first half. Now 1 for their last 8.
Well, you see Larry Dean come off the edge, fights off the block of John White, and then just terrific pursuit. And then just to chop down the Eskimo quarterback as he tries to escape.
Former Valdosta State Blazer, a Division II champion. Played with the Vikings and the Buffalo Bills in the NFL. So 42-yarder from Sean White with the wind. He has not missed in 2016 inside the 50-yard line, and he does it again. Got a bit of a scrap going on in the field. There were no flags. Just at the end of that play. So tempers are short here. And now Dion Lacey coming over to that Hamilton sideline. Now he has to hustle back into play. Just barely getting there, minus his shoe. And into the ball game is Jeremiah Masoli on this sequence on first down after that field goal by White. Final 2 minutes here. 21-9. Collaros will come back and operate.
Well, and to me, it's critical here for the Hamilton Tiger Cats to control the rest of this quarter at least. Do not give Edmonton another chance with the ball, with the wind. So it doesn't mean you need to score before the end of the quarter, but you got to keep possession for 2 minutes here.
Keep in mind, a Hamilton team down 25 to Edmonton. Came back and beat them early in the season, but they have Fantus and Tasker and Owens. They don't have those guys right now. And now out of the backfield, that's the first time we've seen any screenplay action from the Tiger Cats. Close to a first down. Might be football short here. Looks like it's 3rd and inches.
Yeah, no hesitation this time from Kent Austin. They got to go, the big bodies. And Brandon Banks making their way into the lineup.
It's a decoy, I think. And Masoli as well. And again, keep in mind, big play in that first half was that 3rd down stop by the Eskimos.
Now we saw them in a goal line sort of situation earlier with the give to Banks.
Well, Wants to spread it out. Masoli's going to take this himself. Or will he? No, he won't. He hands it off. And a risky play. It worked, though. C.J. Gable gets the first down. Wow.
I'll tell you, I don't mind the handoff to the running back here just because of the momentum factor. He takes a hit from a guy coming off the edge that a quarterback wouldn't take just because of the depth from which he approaches. But you've got some momentum hitting the hole, whereas a quarterback, when there's a surge coming the other way, if you get stuffed a little bit, you've got nothing to carry you through.
Well, maybe muscle memory from earlier what happened as well when Masoli was stuffed. And he's going to stay in here. Change up the quarterbacks. Masoli, play action. Will throw it, has a man. He's wide open. And down the sideline, Spencer Watt still on his feet. What a play. Inside the 15-yard line. Jeremiah Masoli. Bit of a wobbler into the wind. But Spencer Watt was on an island.
I like the creativity. We've seen a few different plays come from this personnel package. This time going with the play action. Spencer Watt, veteran guy. We don't call his name a lot. He doesn't get an opportunity, but he steps up and makes a big play when it's coming his way.
Last play, third quarter. Collaros, sidearm, out of bounds. That's 3 quarters complete in the Eastern Division semifinal. The Hamilton Tiger Cats 3-10 when they trail after 3 in the regular season. But this isn't the regular season, this is the playoffs. And the Eskimos are 1 quarter away from advancing to the Eastern Division final. Back at the Win Bowl here in Hamilton, heading to the 4th quarter. The Cats will have the win, but they trail 21-9. They did outscore the Edmonton Eskimos 6-3 in that 3rd quarter, and Dwayne Ford, that was a must.
Yeah, that was huge. We said they needed to keep it close, not get into more of a hole during that quarter in which they were against the wind. They not only did that, they actually managed to cut into the lead a little bit and put themselves in the best possible position based on where they were at halftime as we now head into the 4th.
But the Edmonton Eskimos are Grey Cup champions for a reason. They have that pedigree. They've been there, done that before, and over the last third of the season have learned how to finish games, something they didn't do early in the season. Right now, the Hamilton Tiger Cats have to finish this drive. It's a 2nd down again. C.J. Gable, much better production in the 2nd half.
Well, better production, also way more of an opportunity to produce.
Zach Collaros changes this play. Play clock coming down to 8, down to 7 now. Here comes the rush. There goes the ball, and it is almost picked off, and Zach Collaros was just pasted. The blitz was coming, and they got to him, and it's going to force a field goal attempt now for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Dion Lacey was jawing with that Hamilton sideline. Comes up with a huge play.
I'll watch from the left side. Dion Lacey times it up. Good clean hit, stays low. Catches him right in the torso. Right down the pipe.
So the Eskimo defense comes up huge here. Will limit Brett Maher and the Ticats to a field goal attempt. Maher has struggled somewhat here today. Not this time, puts this through. And so it's a 21-12 game now in the Eastern semifinal with loads of time left. Well, the Audi 2016 MLS Cup playoffs continue Tuesday. First leg of the conference championships, Montreal and Toronto FC, and also Seattle and Colorado.
Montreal and Toronto are in the playoffs.
Yes, they are. So this is in hockey, nor is it football. Something that didn't happen in either. Should be a lot of fun, though, watching the impact in FC. Let's go. So who will blitz here in this 4th quarter? Eskimos against the wind. Oh, look at this. Darting out of the hole. John White, who has been the biggest difference maker in the ball game. Another 9-yard romp.
And John White is going to be huge here for the Edmonton Eskimos as they go against the wind to try and close this out. Watch again, though, the patience, the delay, waits for it to open up, then he goes. Now up to 111 rushing yards on 13 carries.
Biggest number, though, those 2 touchdowns that came in that first half. Silence this stadium. This is a first down, it looks like. They will move the chains. An Edmonton team, Jason Moss and his Eskimos, who said they wanted to throw haymakers and not jabs today and knockout punches, trying to knock out the Cats here in this fourth quarter. Leading after 3 quarters this season, the Eskimos good finishers 9-3. Riley with a double tight end set. 3 receivers and White in the backfield. Again, John White just carries that ball with some momentum in the backfield and makes it second and manageable again.
He's got that collection of big road graders in front of a massive offensive line.
There they are, including a guy who was an all-star this year, Western Division, and a nominee, finalist for awards, Justin Sorensen. All part of Grey Cup week. Riley now takes off, calls his own number, and Mike Riley took a big hit there from Simone Lawrence, and he's hurt. And Mike Riley is going to the sideline, holding that wrist, and he is down on one knee.
I think any fan of the green and gold held their breath at right about this moment when Mike Riley tucked the ball under his arm, and you knew that he was going to run with that football. Very fortunate that it's his left.
Saw that play band, his wrist guard that has